Okay, one student had a question which was, what's the difference between, we have here, 간다 and 가다, okay? Both of them mean to go, so, and actually both of them are in the same tense, so what's the difference, okay? Now this is a, it's a slightly, difficult to explain. It's not terribly difficult, but concept, it's just different than English, okay? In English we just don't have it, so, anyways, so let's start off by saying they are exactly the same, okay? So, 가다 in its base form is just going to be a simple present, okay? When I talk about the simple present tense, what that covers basically is referring to, habitual activities. So, I get up at 9 o'clock every day, okay? That is a habitual activity, then that is a simple present tense. I get up. It's not past, okay? I got up. It's not, happening now. I'm getting up now, okay? That's present continuous. It's simple present. So we can talk about habitual activities. You can talk about facts, okay? And we'll see some today. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, okay? That's a fact. So simple present, and that is a simple present sentence. The sun sets in the east, okay? Now again, the sun set at 9 o'clock. That's the past tense. That's not simple present. So just trying to give you a clear idea of what the simple present means when I say that first. And then, so this covers the simple present, okay? Both are the same, so what's the difference? Let's look at a few examples just to try to illustrate this, okay? And this actually is a two-part answer, okay? The first part I'm talking about is just strictly on the simple present tense, okay? So, this sentence here, 해는 동쪽에서 뜨다, okay? 해는 동쪽에서 뜨다 means the sun rises in the east, okay? 해 is the sun, 동쪽 is the east, and 쪽 just means side, so 동 means east, but often they're used together, so the east side, 동쪽에서, from the east basically is what 에서 is going to mean there. And then 뜨다 is our verb, okay? Now, this sentence literally does mean the sun rises in the east. The difference is that when it's actually being used, so in this case, you might read this in a textbook or something, okay? They're not going to put it like this. They're actually going to put this N underneath, okay? It's going to be sort of a statement of this fact, okay? And this is sort of the part where we just kind of have to make a leap from English to Korean and just accept that, okay, that's the way they do it, okay? There's not a lot of great explanation as to why it's done that way necessarily, but, okay, 해는 동쪽에서 뜬다, okay? The sun rises in the east. So it basically is just, so it could be, you might find, and then in the Bible, like the Bible talks about a lot of truths and that kind of stuff, so a lot of time you're going to see this structure. And then, so again, this might be in a textbook, but it's just when it's used, like when it's actually being used, you're going to use this form. Now, that being said, when it's used in conversation, and we'll get into some examples of that, when it's used in conversation, it's going to be real casual, so you want to be a bit careful about it. And to be honest, if you're expressing facts, a lot of times you're not even going to use this form, you're just going to conjugate into the common level, okay? So let's look at another one. 해는 서쪽으로, so 서쪽 is west, okay, so is west, 서쪽으로, 지다. Now again, if we were expressing this as a fact, okay, and again, if you were reading this in a textbook or, maybe it was the subtitles of a documentary or something, then it's not going to just have 지다, it's going to have the 진다, okay? Now again, there's not a great explanation of why that's the case, it just is the case, it's the way it's done, okay? So basically anytime you're expressing sort of a sentence in the simple present tense. Now again, if you're talking with your friends, you're probably not going to use this. This is more like, again, textbook, that kind of stuff. There is a spoken form to it, and that's what the second part of this video will be about. So let's actually do that now. So, class 13, okay, of the course. So in class 12, we focused on hada verbs, and we focused on the simple present tense, okay? And then class 13, okay, if you've gone that far, I said is an extension of class 12, because hada verbs are just that useful, and the extension, the new concept we got was that by using the simple present tense, the same tense, okay, the simple present tense in the common form was 해요, okay, by using the same tense, the exact same tense, in Korean, you can actually talk about the present continuous. You can talk about what you're doing now. I can phone my friend, hey, and I can say 뭐해 or 뭐해요 if he's older than me. And even though that's a simple present tense structure, it's actually referring to right now, hey, what are you doing? Okay, so this is something that's unique to Korean compared to English, is that the simple present tense can also be used, that same structure can also be used to talk about the immediate now, what's happening now, okay? And this does tie into this answer, okay? So, so taking that concept, we can come up here, okay? So, in conversation, so 간다. So in conversation, if I wanted to say I go to Canada once a year, okay? 1년에 한 번씩 캐나다에 간다. Okay, that is a statement of fact. It's truth, or it's maybe my habitual routine. But when I say 간다, I'm just basically stating a fact. Again, a little bit more like a textbook, or, you know, okay? So I wouldn't really use that. If I was expressing it to a friend, I would probably say 가요, okay? 나는 캐나다에 1년 한 번씩 가요, 갔다 와요. Okay? That's the form I would use. But this form, 간다, you might hear someone as they're leaving be like, 간다, okay? In this form, and this is where it's spoken, again, it's very casual to do this, okay? But in this form, it's basically a statement of what you're doing or what you're just about to do. Like when you finish work and everyone's hanging out and you're like, well, I'm going, okay? And you could be like, 간다, okay? And you can say that. Now again, in work you probably wouldn't, unless maybe you were the owner or whatever if you were high up, but, you know, so you can still use these forms. You could just say, 가요, okay, I'm leaving, or you could say, even more polite, 갑니다, okay, and again, they just kind of, these squiggles, you know, it kind of extends out, 가요, okay, it's not super short, it's kind of dragged out, 가요, 갑니다, okay, 간다, so if you're with friends, you can just use 간다. So I hope that's clear. It's a long way of getting to this answer, but that's what it is, okay? It's basically a statement of what you're doing now. You'd be like, I'm going, okay? So let's look at another example. If I wanted to say, 나는 아침밥을, sorry, I left a little bit off. 매일, okay? 매일 means every day. A lot of times they're just used back to back like that. Okay, 나는 아침밥을 매일매일 먹다. Now that is a perfect sentence, but again, if I actually wanted to state it, if I was stating it to a friend, you know, I might say 먹어, okay? Or someone a bit older than me, 먹어요, okay? I would use that form. Now again, if I was, you know, you wouldn't really say this, because again, it's like a textbook presentation of a fact or something, okay? 나는 아침밥을 매일매일 먹는다. Okay? It's not wrong, it's perfectly right. It's just real casual. And then, you know, if you wanted to say, so let's say, coming back to this example, what we're talking about right now, maybe breakfast is on the table and you're waiting for someone, but you're like, you don't want to wait anymore, you're like, I'm eating, okay? 나 먹는다, okay? You can say that, okay? 나 먹는다. Okay? And the difference is here that if it ends in a vowel, the N goes underneath. If it ends in a consonant, you got a full-on nun out there, okay? 먹는다. Now the pronunciation of this N is going to cause this G to sound like an NG. 먹는다, okay? So in this case, again, you're making a statement about what you are either doing, or have just started doing, or are, you know, about to do, okay? So you don't want to wait anymore. You're like, 나 먹는다, and then you start eating, okay? So I hope that's clear on what the difference is between 간다 and 가요. They're exactly the same, or 가다. Just this one is more sort of an expression of a fact or something that, again, is sort of used just in almost a journalistic way, just expressing this fact. Or in conversation, it's expressing what you're doing or about to do. Okay, 나 간다, 나 먹는다, like that. Okay. Otherwise, if you're just talking generally, a lot of times you're not going to use this form. You can just use, again, your common or your casual conjugations. I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.